End with a summary, recap key findings and their implications for your study. Part 1. The importance of ending Chapter 2 with a summary. A well-structured literature review should conclude with a concise and insightful summary that recaps the key findings and their implications for the current study. This final section is essential because it synthesizes the main ideas, highlights trends and gaps, and connects past research to the study's objectives. Without a strong conclusion, the literature review may appear fragmented, leaving readers without a clear understanding of how the reviewed works support the study. One of the primary purposes of the summary is to reinforce the main themes identified throughout Chapter 2. Rather than restating every study discussed, this section should synthesize major trends, patterns, and insights. For example, in a literature review on the impact of online learning on student performance, the summary might highlight the increasing adoption of digital learning platforms, the effectiveness of blended learning compared to traditional methods, challenges related to student engagement and technological access. By doing so, the summary provides a coherent overview of the most critical takeaways, making it easier for the reader to grasp the broader picture. Another key function of the summary is to identify gaps in the literature. Recognizing what has not been extensively studied helps justify the need for further research. For example, if most studies on mental health and remote work focus on corporate employees but lack insights into freelancers or gig workers, this gap can be highlighted as an area for further exploration. If research on renewable energy policies has largely examined developed countries but lacks studies on developing nations, this omission can be noted. By pointing out these research gaps, the summary strengthens the rationale for the study and sets the stage for the next chapter, which typically involves research methodology. Additionally, the summary should directly link the literature review to the study's research questions or hypotheses. This connection ensures that the review remains purposeful and aligned with the study's overall objectives. For instance, if a study aims to investigate how social media influences purchasing decisions, the summary should emphasize the existing literature on consumer behavior, digital marketing strategies, and emerging trends in social media advertising. Finally, a strong conclusion should briefly outline the significance of the reviewed studies in shaping the research framework. If theoretical models were discussed in Chapter 2, the summary should clarify which ones are most applicable to the study. If empirical studies were examined, the summary should indicate how their findings support or challenge the researcher's assumptions. Strategies for writing an effective summary: recap main themes, highlight the most critical findings without excessive detail. Identify research gaps, point out areas that need further investigation. Link findings to the study, show how the reviewed literature supports the research questions. Prepare for the next chapter, provide a smooth transition to the methodology section. Ending the literature review with a well-crafted summary ensures that the chapter is cohesive, relevant, and meaningful, reinforcing its role as the foundation for the research study. Part 2. Writing an effective summary for Chapter 2. After understanding the importance of concluding Chapter 2 with a summary, the next step is to craft a structured and compelling conclusion that effectively synthesizes the reviewed literature. A strong summary does more than just restate information; it connects key insights, highlights gaps, and emphasizes their relevance to the study. 1. Summarizing key findings. The first step in writing the summary is to recap the main themes and trends identified in the literature review. This should be done in a structured and logical manner, ensuring that the summary remains clear and concise. For example, in a literature review on the effects of digital transformation on business efficiency, the summary could highlight advancements in automation and artificial intelligence that improve operational processes, the role of cloud computing in enhancing data storage and accessibility, challenges in cybersecurity and data privacy as a growing concern in digital adoption. By presenting these points clearly, the summary reinforces the critical takeaways from the literature review. 2. Identifying research gaps and limitations. one of the most important aspects of the summary is pointing out gaps in existing research. This step helps establish the necessity of the current study by showing what previous studies have overlooked. Some common research gaps include limited geographical scope. Many studies focus on specific regions or countries, leaving other areas unexplored. Lack of diverse methodologies. Some studies rely too heavily on one approach, e.g., surveys, while ignoring qualitative insights. Evolving trends. Some topics may be under-researched due to rapid changes in technology or society. For instance, if the literature review discusses the impact of work-from-home policies on employee productivity, the summary might highlight that most studies focus on corporate employees but lack insights into freelancers and small business owners. There is limited research on long-term psychological effects of remote work. Studies primarily focus on developed countries, with little data from emerging economies. By addressing these gaps, the summary strengthens the argument for why the current research is necessary. 3. Connecting findings to research objectives. A well-written summary should explicitly link the reviewed literature to the study's research questions or hypotheses. This connection ensures that the literature review remains focused and relevant. For example, if the research question is, "How does social media influence the buying behavior of teenagers?" the summary should mention studies that discuss peer influence and digital marketing. Research on consumer psychology in social media interactions. Gaps in studies related to specific platforms like TikTok and Snapchat. By making these connections clear, the summary shows how the literature review directly informs the current study. 4. Providing a smooth transition to the next chapter. The final part of the summary should set the stage for Chapter 3, Research Methodology. This transition ensures that the literature review naturally leads to the research design. For example, if the study involves a survey and case study approach, the summary might state, "Given the gaps in existing research on social media marketing strategies for small businesses, this study will employ a mixed methods approach, including surveys and interviews, to gain deeper insights into digital consumer behavior." This transition helps guide the reader toward the next phase of the research process, ensuring a logical flow between chapters. Conclusion. Ending Chapter 2 with a well-crafted summary ensures that the literature review is clear, relevant, and impactful. By recapping key findings, identifying research gaps, linking insights to research objectives, and preparing for the next chapter, the summary strengthens the overall coherence of the thesis. A strong conclusion reinforces the significance of past studies while justifying the need for further research, ultimately enhancing the study's academic value. If you like this kind of content, click subscribe to be updated on the next tips on how to write Chapter 2. Thank you.